This is still News Desk, and my name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. Let's talk sports now because the Black Stars of Ghana would meet the Germans tomorrow in our second match in the World Cup this year. But really interesting story coming in. Leadership of the various supporters unions Friday morning heckled Deputy Sports Minister Joseph Yamin. Now, the leadership are unhappy about government's decision to cancel sending stranded supporters to Brazil. The deputy minister had finished appearing on a program when the supporters were stranded at the Kotoka International Airport. You recall that the supporters really were stranded at the Kotoka International Airport earlier in the week. And member of the local organizing committee for Ghana, Edu Asari, said government had decided not to airlift any more supporters to Brazil. That decision infuriated the stranded supporters. Right, and so that was what happened here after Joseph Yamin, Deputy Sports Minister, finished the program and was heckled by leadership of various supporter unions. Kwame Jomo is a sports journalist here joining us, and he's joined me here in the studio. We'll talk about that and the Black Stars match tomorrow. I'm not particularly enthused like I was with the Ghana USA match, and but why? I fear. I mean, basically, that's the best description. The fact that I am actually afraid of what we could face tomorrow. Germany beats Portugal.
Well, the Germans may have beaten Portugal, but for a lot of Ghanaians out there, it's not just about how Ghana are going to be approaching the game against Germany. They are looking at Germany at international events and are thinking we don't stand a chance. When you look at Germany historically at the World Cup or at the Euros, it's frightening. Their record is simply frightening. In 1966, I wasn't born, but I recall they made it to the final of the World Cup. In 1972, they won the Euros. In 1974, they won the World Cup. In 1976, they made the Euros final as well. They lost to the former Czech Republic. In 1980, they won the Euros. In 1982, they were in the final of the World Cup. They lost in the final, incidentally, to Italy. In 1986, I recall, I was born at the time. 1986, they lost out in the final as well to Argentina. In 1990, they were in the final again of the World Cup where they won. In 1996, they won the final of the Euros. 2002, they were in the final of the World Cup as well. 2008, they were in the final of the Euros. 2010, they were in the semi-final of the World Cup. I'm saying all this to give Ghanaians an idea of the kind of preparations the Germans do when they are going into major tournaments. They leave nothing to chance, and they always make sure that they go very, very far. So that if you look at how they've started this World Cup, defeating Portugal, highly rated Portugal by 4-0. What Ghanaians are dreading is that we are meeting a team with this kind of history and we don't stand a chance.
Oh, sadly, we don't.
Well, if you speak to even the most passionate Ghanaian fan on the street, he will tell you the German game after the US lost. If we had won against the United States, then at least we still had a chance against Portugal. But after losing our first game and meeting Germany in the second game, and let's not forget this, in 2010, the Germans were in our group. After they had beaten the Australians in the first game, they slipped in the game against Serbia, a Serbian team that we had beaten. And the Germans had to beat us in the third game in 2010 to make their qualification setting. If they had even drawn that game, they wouldn't have made it out of the group stages. And I don't think that they would want to let that happen to them again. They would want to make sure that they qualify going into their third game against the United States, and they're going to leave nothing to chance against Ghana. It's worrying.
But let's talk about the Ghana team. Say we also drew with the Germans. What does it say for us? We're still coming home?
Well, if we draw with the Germans, then the calculations would start. Then we'll be looking forward to the results of the game that is going to be played later between Portugal and the United States. If the results do go our way, and when I say results going our way, this is what I mean. Either a win for Portugal or a draw in that game, then we still stand a very good chance of advancing from the group stage in our final game against the Portuguese. If the USA get a result, and Germany gets a result, Kutuka, here we come.
Really?
Yeah.
So we're basically in the same boat as the English. The English team
would have to depend on so much. Ours is even a lot clearer as far as I am concerned. You're looking at England now and you're thinking, I mean, they would have to depend on Italy for too much more or less. It wouldn't well for them.
We also had the fallouts after our loss to the United States of America, and we've been trying to get in touch with our men in Brazil. Maybe in subsequent broadcasts we will. But what have you heard from camp?
Well, what I hear is a team with the desire to go out and make us proud. It's one thing to have a desire to want to go out and make us proud. It's another thing looking at the opponent and thinking, do we stand a chance? Realistically, I mean, if you're not Ghanaian and you were, an analyst, if you like, on any broadcast anywhere, and you're analyzing the chances of a German-Ghana team, 9 out of 10, you go for a result for Germany. But we've all seen this before. In 2006, after we lost out in our first game against, I recall, it was the Italians at the time, we were going into our second game against Czech Republic, who were then ranked number 2 in the world. The Czechs had beaten the United States convincingly in their first game 3-0, and no one, absolutely no one, gave Ghana a chance to get a result. I'm sure you remember what happened. We won 2-0, so you never know.
Kwesi apologized for his performance. Do we know what his starting 11 will look like tomorrow?
Well, from what we gather from our team in Brazil, it's going to be some changes in there, of course. My understanding is that Samuel Nkum is coming into the team. Harrison Afful is likely to start as well. And then what a lot of Ghanaians were not too enthused about, seeing Jordan playing the hole behind Samoa Gyan in that first game. It looks more of a case of Kevin Prince Boateng coming in. So if he gets to start, what that means is that Kwadwo Samoa is going to be playing in a more advanced position rather than the left full back, which a lot of people, again, were not enthused about. So it looks more like a very strong Ghanaian team, but it's going to come up against a very strong German opposition.
Perhaps a stronger team.
A stronger team.
A stronger team. We fingers crossed. We look forward to at least a draw.
Someone said machos crossed.
A goalless draw, perhaps.
Well, it would not be too bad a result, but even if we end up drawing, then we would have to stay awake and see the game between Portugal and the United States. If that game also doesn't go away, it might just not look good. There are too many, calculations we would have to do. All we have to do as a team is to get a result in our next 2 games, and then we are confident that we are making the round of 16. And if you look at the teams in Group H, it gives you a fair idea of why Ghanaians are confident if we make it out of our group, we will go through. It has Belgium, Russia, South Korea in there, and Algeria. We stand a very good chance.
Let's come back home and what happened to Joseph Yamin. Exactly what was that?
Well, from what I gather, this is it. I recall I was at a press conference, I think somewhere last week, where the Honorable Sports Minister said that 500 fans, and as we say here in Ghana, conk, would be going to Brazil. And then, you know, these supporters groups were given various allocations. If you are from, let's say, Sugar, bring 50. If you are from Nido, bring 20. If you are from Gary, bring 10. That kind of thing. So they did all that. And then at the final hurdle, they were told, sorry, instead of 50, we can only take X number, Y number, and all that. And for these fans, they are incensed because they were promised that they were going to be going to Brazil. And from what they gather, the so-called big men have rather, you know, either their own people, if you like, at the expense of, you know, these supporters. And they are clearly not happy about it. They would have expected to have a lot more supporters going to Brazil to cheer the team up rather than having.
So what was the minister's reaction when they met up with him?
He was pretty calm. I mean, the deputy minister for youth and sports is not in charge of stuff for Brazil. He's only in charge of, what I know is that he's in charge of the Commonwealth Games and Canada with the ladies under 20 as the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, Elvis Afriankra, who is literally running everything to do with Brazil. So what he, had to do was to get, you know, these supporters groups to be calm and explain the situation to them, that from where he sits, it was always going to be very difficult for him to do much about it anyway. He just simply had to calm them down and assure them, if you like, that maybe next time we can do a lot more than we have done this year.
All right, pleasure talking to you, Kwame. You
Thanks
have to get onto another show. All right, Kwame Jamal is the sports journalist here at Joy News. Well, and that means that I have to go already because it's time for me to go. Just before I do, I want to share this with you. Government is confirmed in a statement that one of the 3 persons shot and killed and renewed fighting in Bimbila in the northern region is the paramount chief of the area. Indeed, Na Dasana Dawone. 4 other people were severely injured and are still receiving treatment in the hospital. There'll be more on this and on the Black Stars. We'll bring you news from camp from our men in Brazil in subsequent broadcasts, especially on News Today at midday with me, Kamini Nyamani. Thanks for watching News Desk. Bye-bye.